Okay, so today I will be showing you how to do a math problem by using the G-matrix approach. Basically, our end result, we're looking for the variable. So we're looking for what x is, for what y is, and what z is. And I'll show you how to do that. So first off, what we're going to do is our first step is we're going to write all these without their variables. So the x stands for 1. The negative y is going to be a negative 1. The z is going to be a 1. And then I'm going to put a little dotted line right here for my equal sign. 8. And then I'll put a 3. Another 3. Negative 9. Negative 6. A 7. A negative 2. And a positive 5. And a 39. I'm going to go ahead and put it in brackets so I know what I'm doing. Okay, so basically I'll just kind of explain it the way I think about it. Each one of these is a column, and each one of these stands for a variable. So I think of this as my x column, my y column, and my z column. As long as I keep all of those in order, I shouldn't have a problem, and it'll help me figure out what my variables are easier when we get down to the end. So what we're going to do is we are going to try to find, we are going to make this diagonal row right here, that's all going to be 1s. And then this little triangle right here, everything under it, that's going to be 0s. And that way we know that once we get a 1 right here, which we do, that our x variable is going to be minus a y variable plus a z variable, and that's going to equal 8. And so once when we get a 1 down here, we know that whatever's over here, that's going to equal our z. So, hopefully that was understandable. If not, really sorry. Okay, so we've already done our first step. What I'm going to do is I want this to be a 0. So I'm going to multiply negative 3 by this. Oh, I don't know why this isn't working. Okay, I'm going to multiply negative 3 by this top row. As long as we are obeying mathematical laws, it doesn't matter whether we use multiplication, division, subtraction, addition. As long as we get a 0 and a 1 and a 0 and a 0 and a 1, that's all that matters. So, like I said, multiplying negative 3 by the whole top row, so I'll get negative 3, 3, another negative 3, and negative 24. I'll go ahead and write that down right here, so I'll have a 1. Oh, now that I have that, I'm going to add that to this. Negative 6. So then my answer, I'm just going to put over here, 1. Oops, that's a 1. Sorry, guys. And an 8. I'm going to go ahead and I have a 0, I have a 6, I have a negative 12, and I have a negative 30. And we're not doing anything with our third row. So I'll just leave that right there. Ta-da! Put in brackets so we know where you are. Okay, so hopefully that was understandable. I multiplied negative 3 by this top row, added it to the second row, and then that's where I got this. So in turn, I got my 0. Yay! So now we're looking for a 1. Normally I don't like to divide because I don't like fractions. But for right here, I'm going to go ahead and divide because everything is divisible by 6. So I'll just write down my top row again so that we know where we are and everything is organized. So dividing everything by 6, that leaves me with a 1. I have a negative 2 and negative 5. We haven't done anything with our third row, so I'll just leave that right there. Little brackets. Doo-doo. Okay, sweet. So now we have our first row done and our second row done. Yay! So now we're going to move on to our third row. We want 2 0s and then a 1 to make this diagonal line of 1s and our little triangle of 0s. You gotta remember that. So again, I'm going to ask myself, what can I do to this to give me a 1? Well, again, I'm going to multiply negative 7 to this top row, and then I'm going to add that top row to the bottom row. You may ask me, why am I not multiplying it by the second row? Well, Negative 7 times 0, that's 0. Add that to 7. I still have 7. It doesn't give me 1. So basically, no can do. I just multiplied it by up here. So now I have a negative 7, 7, another negative 7, and I have a negative, oops, sorry guys, 56. Okay, sweet. Now I just add that to my third row. Again, I'm just going to go down here, write my just so that way I stay organized. I know where I'm at. And when I add, I have a 0, I have a 5, I have a negative 2, and a negative 17. Little brackets, everything's all nice and neat. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we need a 0 right here. Again, what can I do to get a 0 here? Well, instead of multiplying by up here, because same thing, when we add oh boy. When we add the end solution, when we multiply this to this row, it gives me a 0. It moves my 0. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So just know not to do that whenever there's something here. We want to keep this 0 here. We want to get another 0. We don't want to change this 0. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this by that. That's going to give me a 0, a negative 5, a 10, and a 25. I'm going to put this down here. Negative 1, 1, 8, 0, 1, 2, negative 5. Okay, now I have a 0, I have a 0, I have an 8, and I have an 8. Ooh, I like this problem. Comes out really nice and simple and easy. So now I have my 3 zeros, but I'm still missing a 1. Thankfully, 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. So really simple, don't really have to do very much hard brain work there. 0, 1, negative 2, negative 5. Divide everything by 8, so I get a 1, and I get another 1. Don't forget that we're dividing by 8 right here. Okay, so now I have my row of 1s, and I have my triangle of 0s. Yay! So now what I can do is, remember these are our columns, and I can set up everything to what it equals. So I'm going to write it down here. Z equals 1. Remember that's a Z, so it equals 1. Y, this stands for a Y. Y is minus 2x. 2z. Don't forget that this represents a z, so we can't forget the z right there. Equals negative 5. Then I have an x minus a y plus a z equals 8. Boom. Now it's just simple algebraic stuff. Oh, sorry. Didn't realize you couldn't see that. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and do the easiest stuff first. I'm going to sub in my z to my y so I can figure out what it is. So I have a 1 right here. Dun, 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 dun. Equals negative 5. Okay, so now I have y minus 2. Y equals negative 5 plus 2. I'm writing everything out so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so now I have my z equals 1 and my y equals negative 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sub in those two answers to my first equation that I had way up there. So I'll have a negative 3 plus a 1, that equals 8. So now I'm going to find what my x is. Plus 3 plus 1 equals 8. Now you guys can probably all do this in your head, but just for sake of steps. Okay, so now I have my z equals 1, my y equals negative 3, my x equals negative 4. Please don't stop there. I always like to check my work to make sure I have it right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sub everything back into my first equation. So x minus y plus z equals 8. So that equals this plus that equals 8. That's 7 plus 1. Whoop-de-doo. It's all the same. Yay. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing for y'all. But that's how you do a matrix form. Don't forget that we take all the variables out right here. We have our own little columns that equals everything. We want to get that row of ones and the triangle of zeros. And then once you just basically ask yourself a question, how in the world am I going to get this number to equal 0 or this number to equal 1? And then look at your little bracket of numbers and see what you can plug in and subtract and add, and yeah. So, hope that helped you guys.